Alright, so I'm going to be doing a review of Universal Monsters Creature from the Black Lagoon Lives. Yep, I have been gone for a few days. Yep, just how it went. Anyway, so Universal Monsters Creature from the Black Lagoon Lives was the second Universal Monster comic from Image's new Universal Monster line. This was a book sent to me by my friend Chris. Chris, thank you once again, brother. And yeah, so the comic is this comic, unlike the Dracula one by James Tynion, this one was written by Dan Watters and James V. With I think there was actually 3 people who wrote this. Oh, no, it was just 2 people who wrote this, Rom V and Dan Watters. And artwork by, who was it? Matthew Roberts, with colors by Dave Stewart and Trish Milvahill. Hope I'm saying that last name right. Yeah. So this one, unlike the Dracula one, where the Dracula one is not so much a sequel to the original 1931 movie, it's more of a sister story. It's more like a companion piece you can read to fill in the blank, that's meant to be like fill in the blanks for the comic. That's what it's meant. That one is less of a sequel, more of, hey, this is the sister piece because there are some missing pieces because of, censorship was very high back then, so it was kind of a point to, it was very much a point to make of having, all these missing scenes and then bring them to light. So this is different. This is a direct sequel. I actually it feels more like a direct sequel because it doesn't talk about The Creature Walks Among Us, or the third sequel, The Creature Walks Among... Yeah, Revenge of the Creature and Creature Walks Among Us. Holy shit. God damn it. So that's what this comic is. It's treated as a direct sequel that's set in the present time. Even though they keep saying like 30 years have passed, it's more like 70. And it is good this comic came out because this is the year of the 70th anniversary of the Creature of the Black Lagoon. Creature from Black Lagoon, excuse me. So what is this comic about? Oh boy. Oh boy. How do I explain this comic to any... how do I explain this comic? So, the story follows a girl, a reporter named Kate Marsden. And Kate Marsden is on the hunt for a serial killer in Peru. A serial killer who almost murdered her by drowning. And in her obsessive search to find out where this special ops trained serial killer went, she ends up going deep into the Amazon and discovers the Gill Man. And the Gill Man actually saves her from being from drowning. And after the Gill Man leaves her alone, she actually encounters Dr. Thompson. Dr. Thompson was a character, a minor supporting character from the original 1954 film, where he was the guy who got, the creature, when it lashed out, it fucked up his face. So in return for help, she's basically like, I'll help you find the Gill Man, because he's been very obsessively trying to find the Gill Man. She's like, I will help you find him, but I'll help you find him, but in return, you will help me find and kill the guy who tried the serial killer. And the serial killer is now training narcos to help them move drugs across the border. Everybody got that? Because it goes way crazier. For a 4-issue book, they do squeeze a lot in here, which I do appreciate that these, for so far between this and Dracula, the comics do feel like complete stories. There doesn't feel like anything is left out. It doesn't feel like anything is being put to waste. But I will say that the comic itself does go completely off the goddamn rails. This comic goes in a direction towards the end that just makes you go, what? Huh? And also, the creature itself, the Gill Man himself, is treated more as a monster in the shadows at the beginning, which I actually really appreciate. I really do like the idea of the Gill Man being treated as something you don't see a lot, something that feels like the shark in Jaws. Even though, yes, originally the Gill-Man was shown a lot in the original 1954 film, in here he's treated more as like the thing that is like waiting in the water for you. And it is interesting to note that like they do kind of bring up a lot that the Gill-Man himself isn't really a monster per se. He's more of a, you know, Dr. Thompson says it best when he like encounters the Gill-Man again. He's like, "You're not a monster, you're not a demon, you're just a sad, lonely animal." And I really do like that. There's even like a moment where the Gill-Man is horrified by mankind, like something that he sees a bunch of humans do to each other, and he's just like, ooh, that's horrible, and like leaves. Like he has this look of shock behind him. You really don't know what the Gill-Man is thinking. He's, like I said, he's more of a much like with Dracula, where he's more of the monster in the first book. He's more of the monster in the shadows. This really does feel like it's written by two different writers, because it really does feel like there's like two different plots going on, and that kind of sucks for this. Is that I really feel like Waters and V are both very capable writers. Like they both have written mainstream comics, but they've also written, you know, they've also written mainstream horror books. Like that was some of their original bread and butter. But here, it really does feel more like they're kind of pushing and pulling on ideas, and that where the comic ends. Again, I don't want to spoil it. You're just kind of like towards that end half of the book. You're just kind of like, what the fuck is this? That's really all I can say is like, what the fuck happened to this comic? Like, you really have to like stop and ask yourself, how did we get here? Like, how did we get to this point in the story? I really don't know what to say. So yeah. I think I like Dracula more. I still like this book, don't get me wrong. I do feel like it's towards the end a little weaker of the books, but I will say that I think it's a very strong book nonetheless. It's definitely the weaker. I still think Dracula is the better of the two so far. Now I am interested about the next one to come out in trade, and that will be in April, and that's Frankenstein. And I'm very excited to read Frankenstein, because it's going to be a story of like each comic tells a story of a certain body part that was used for the creature. So I'm very excited to see how they'll play with that. But all in all, it's decent. I do think it's a little weaker than Dracula. I think the ending kind of kills a lot of it, because it just goes so off the fucking rails. And I feel like they're trying to do too many things for it. But yeah, do I think you should pick up Creature from the Black Lagoon Lives? Yeah, I think it's solid in its own right. But yeah. Anyway, once again, I'd like to thank my friend Chris. Thank you again, brother, for this book. And yeah, if you've read Creature from the Black Lagoon Lives, let me know in the comments below what you guys thought of it. Just comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope y'all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in Multiverse.